From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good afternoon, I'm Grace McLeod, and I have your 1 p.m. news update. Starting our news with a Canadian update on the effects of the Israel war, Canadians with families under bombardment in Gaza say they are terrified and desperate to help loved ones in the sealed-off Palestinian territory, but don't know how as war wages in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas. The Canadian press spoke with Reem Sultan, a 49-year-old pharmacist from London, Ontario. She says she's been previously sent money to support family in Gaza, but is now struggling to communicate with them. She currently sees no way to help relatives escape, with Israel's airstrike having targeted the crossing between Egypt and the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. It is the only passage out of the densely populated coastal territory that does not lead into Israel.
It's been sheer hell. It's waiting every moment for that news that you've lost a loved one. Constant prayers that God makes you strong for when you receive that news, that you don't completely fall apart. Trying to be strong for my children, but hiding so much fear and horror. It's just indescribable.
The fighting that began with a surprise weekend attack by Hamas has claimed more than 1,800 lives on both sides, as aid groups warn that the supplies are running out of Gaza hospitals overwhelmed by wounded people. More locally on this topic, a 22-year-old Vancouver man killed by a Hamas gunman on Saturday while at a music festival in Israel is being remembered as someone who brought joy and love to the world. Ezra Shankin, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Vancouver, says he sat with the parents on Ben Mizrachi over the weekend as they learned their son was missing. He says the family got on a flight to Israel and was told Mizrachi was dead after they arrived. Russ Klein, the head of the King David High School, where Mizrachi attended, says the young man was full of joy, had a smile for everyone, and was always there to help. Communities around the world are reeling in the aftermath of this Hamas attack in Gaza on Saturday. The Crow's Ben Bagura spoke with North Shore Jewish leader about the community in doing to mourn the tragic loss of life.
Members of Vancouver's Jewish community will join together this afternoon to mourn those killed this weekend in the Hamas attack at a music festival in Gaza. Congregation Har El Rabbi Philip Gibbs says the gathering is not only an opportunity to mourn, but also to work towards peace.
And it is my hope that both the Jewish community is able to take advantage of this moment to ensure that we are able to build that sense of solidarity to work together collaboratively for a more peaceful future.
The gathering will take place at 5 p.m. today at Jackpool Plaza. Ben Bugura, 1680 The Crow.
All right, we are here live with Ben Bugura on an update for this story. Hi, Ben. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Grace. Glad to be with you.
Awesome. So my first question for you is, obviously this is a difficult time for the community, and I would like to know who is involved in putting this event on.
So this event, Grace, is being put on by the Jewish Federation of Greater Vancouver. It's an important way for the community to come together, obviously, in the aftermath of this tragedy. The community will be gathering with several local Jewish organizations down at Jackpool Plaza later today.
Awesome. And question 2 is, what security precautions are the organizers taking for this event?
So obviously, the Vancouver Police has announced that added security around a lot of Jewish community centers and community areas such as synagogues will be put in place. They are saying that visitors to this event today should leave large bags or baggy backpacks at home in order to ensure security for everybody attending this event to mourn the losses in Gaza over the weekend.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you, Grace.
Also in BC, COVID immunization campaign kicks off in BC as vaccines arrive at pharmacies. British Columbia has launched an immunization campaign for this year's respiratory illness season, with influenza and COVID-19 vaccinations now available in pharmacies across the province. The immunization plan was announced late last month as BC's Provincial Health Officer Bonnie Henry reintroduced mask mandates in the province health settings, with respiratory illness trending upwards. In a written statement, drugstore chain PharmaSave says that they are anticipating an increase in demand for vaccines administered by pharmacies this year. As patients have increasingly turned to pharmacists for treating common ailments since the province authorized in June. Starting September 21st, with 24 deaths in the last week of September. In the second week of August, BC reported 9 COVID-19 deaths. The center says new infections are also on the rise from 133 cases during the second week of August to 877 cases in the last week of September, with a notable increase in patients aged 60 and older. Just outside of Vancouver, a company based in Port Coquitlam says it's launching a new program to tackle materials that aren't easily recycled. Vitacore Industries says its Planet Impact program seems to help cities, businesses, and others in handling hard-to-recycle materials, such as personal protective equipment, coffee pods, and food packaging. The company says the program is an expansion of its existing PPE recycling efforts and target materials that aren't recyclable by services offered by municipalities. The company says the aim is to eliminate waste and repurpose materials after its facility in Port Coquitlam upped capacity with the help of the province Clean BC Plastic Action Fund. In national news today, a rally urging the Saskatchewan government to respect people's rights is scheduled to take place outside of the legislature before politicians return this afternoon. The Saskatchewan Party government is planning to introduce legislation and invoke the notwithstanding clause over its pronoun policy in schools. The legislation would prevent those under 16 from changing their names or pronouns at school without parental consent. Premier Scott Moe says using the notwithstanding clause of the charter ensures that the policy remains in place, even though a judge granted an injunction to pause it. Elsewhere in Canada, an affordable housing complex aimed exclusively at older adults in LGBT community is being built in Winnipeg. The complex is being developed by the Rainbow Resource Centre, a long-standing Winnipeg group. Executive Director Noreen Mayan says many queer seniors face the possibility of going back into the closet because they don't feel safe in traditional 55-plus complexes. Down in the USA, Utah has become the latest state to sue TikTok. Allegedly, the social media company is baiting children into addictive and unhealthy habits. Arkansas and Indiana have filed similar lawsuits, and the U.S. Supreme Court is preparing to decide whether state attempts to regulate social media platforms such as Facebook, X, and TikTok are constitutional. The lawsuit filed in Utah State Court Tuesday alleges TikTok lures children into hours of social media use, misrepresents the app's safety, and deceptively portrays itself as indifferent or of its Chinese parent company. ByteDance. The Canadian press says a TikTok spokesperson did not immediately return an email message seeking comment. Also in the U.S., Donald Trump acknowledges in a document in the fraud trial the size of his Trump Tower penthouse is a lot smaller than he claimed. Associated Press's Julie Walker has more.
Evidence shown at Donald Trump's New York civil fraud trial shows that he signed a 1994 document giving the true size of his Trump Tower penthouse at just under 11,000 square feet. It was listed later as 30,000 square feet on his financial statements that were given to banks, insurers, and others to make deals and secure loans. The evidence appeared in an email attachment shown during testimony from Alan Weisselberg, the former finance chief of Trump's company. The state attorney general's lawsuit alleges that Weisselberg engineered Trump's financial statements to meet his demands that they show increases in his net worth despite appraisals to the contrary. Trump denies any wrongdoing. Julie Walker, New York.
In our sports news, NHL issues updated theme night guidance, which includes a ban of players using pride tape on the ice. The NHL sent a memo to teams last week clarifying what players can and cannot do as part of the theme celebrations this season, including a ban on the use of rainbow-colored stick tape for Pride Nights. The update guidance reaffirms on-ice players' uniforms and gear for games, warm-ups, and official team practices cannot be altered to reflect theme nights, including Pride, Hockey Night, Hockey Fights Cancer, or Military Appreciation. Players can volunteer participate in theme celebrations off ice. Previously, the NHL has decided not to allow teams to wear any themed jersey for warm-ups after a handful of players opted out last season. Also in hockey, a few of Toronto Maple Leafs' top stars worked in disguise at a local Sobeys grocery store this week. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner dressed as grocery store employees, while Morgan Riley and William Nylander spoke to them through a headset, telling them what to say to customers. A video was filmed and uploaded onto YouTube for viewers to see. Behind the disguise game, the Maple Leafs had another motive. They donated $10,000 to the Daily Bread Food Bank, which is one of the largest food banks organizations. In basketball news, the Toronto Raptors' first ever head coach, Brendan Malone, has died. He was 81. The Denver Nuggets announced his passing on social media today. His cause of death is unknown. Malone, the father of current Nuggets head coach Mike Malone, led the Raptors in their inaugural season in 1995 to 1996. Toronto finished 21-61 games in a season and included a memorial win over the eventful champion Chicago Bulls. And in the U.S., Travis Denard and Austin Riley hit 2 home runs at the Atlanta Braves, rallied for a 4th run defect to stun the Philadelphia Phillies 5-4 last night in the event of a National League Division Series at one apiece. The Braves had held without a night. I'm Grace McLeod, and those were your 11:15.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.